Long ago, in a kingdom without a king, England fell into chaos. Lords quarreled for power, knights fought over land, and common people suffered under the weight of uncertainty. The throne sat empty, waiting for someone worthy to rise, not by birth or wealth, but by character. In the heart of London, in front of a great cathedral, a mysterious stone appeared. Set into it was a shining sword, its hilt gleaming with runes of gold. An inscription read, "Whoso pulleth this sword out of this stone is rightwise king born of England." For years, many tried. Proud knights with muscles like iron gripped the sword and heaved with all their strength, but it did not move. Dukes, princes, even kings from other lands tried, but the sword stood firm, immovable as a mountain. It was not brute force that the stone tested, it was something deeper. The boy called Wart. Far from the clamor of lords and knights lived a boy named Arthur, though everyone called him Wart. He was no prince, no knight, just a simple squire's helper. He ran errands, polished armor, tended horses, and obeyed orders. Though small and humble, he carried within him a quiet heart full of curiosity and kindness. He did not yet know that greatness often hides in the most ordinary of lives. One winter, Wart accompanied his foster brother Kay to London for a great tournament. Knights from all over England gathered to prove their worth. Kay had been training for years, dreaming of glory, while Wart dutifully carried his equipment, happy simply to serve. On the day of the tournament, the trumpets sounded, and the crowds gathered to watch. Kay was nervous but eager to compete. Yet in the rush, he discovered something dreadful: he had forgotten his sword. Angry and desperate, Kay turned to Wart. "Run, boy, fetch me a sword, or I shall lose my chance." Wart nodded without hesitation. He wanted nothing more than to help. But in the confusion of the crowds and the locked houses, he found no weapon to borrow. Then, in a quiet courtyard, his eyes fell upon something strange, a sword glimmering in the morning light, lodged in a stone. The moment of truth. Wart approached the stone curiously. He had heard whispers of it but had never seen it up close. The sword looked inviting, almost as if it were waiting for him. He did not see the crowd of knights who had failed before him. He did not hear the voices of doubt that said, "Only kings may try." He only thought of helping his brother. With simple determination, Wart placed his hands on the hilt. He pulled. To his surprise, the sword slid free, smooth as silk, as though it had been waiting only for him. He blinked in disbelief, holding the blade in his hands. It felt strangely natural, as if it belonged to him. With no thought of glory, he hurried back to Kay, offering it without pride. "Here is your sword, brother." Truth revealed. Kay stared, astonished. He recognized it immediately. This was no ordinary weapon. His eyes widened with ambition. Yes, this is my sword now. I drew it from the stone." But others had seen. Word spread quickly. Soon, lords and knights gathered around. They demanded the boy show the act again. Nervously, Wart returned to the courtyard. He slid the sword back into the stone, where it locked in place once more. Then, with all eyes upon him, he grasped the hilt. Without strain, without pride, with only humility, he pulled, and the sword came free again. Gasps filled the air. No one else could move it, not even the strongest knights. Again and again, they asked, and again, only Wart succeeded. The boy who had been overlooked, the servant who had no noble blood, had done what no man of power could. The prophecy was fulfilled. He was the true king. The lesson of the sword. At first, Wart could not believe it. "Me, a king, but I am no one. I am only a squire's helper." Yet the wise old men reminded him, greatness does not come from titles, but from character. It is not strength of arms that makes a leader, but strength of heart. You pulled the sword because you were selfless, humble, and true. That is what England needs. And so Arthur, once Wart, was crowned king. From his reign grew the legendary Round Table, a symbol of equality and justice. His kingdom would shine with courage and unity, all because one boy dared to reach for a sword not for himself, but for another. Why the story inspires us. The sword in the stone is not just a tale of magic, it is a mirror for our own lives. The stone represents the challenges we face, those problems that seem immovable, impossible to solve. The sword represents our dreams, goals, our destiny, something worth striving for, even if others say we cannot achieve it. The test is not about power, wealth, or privilege. It is about patience, humility, resilience, and faith in oneself. Many people in life are like the knights who pulled with force but failed. They rely only on strength, status, or pride. Yet the stone only yields to those with purity of purpose. The lesson is clear: success is not about being the strongest or the most important. It is about being true, consistent, and willing to serve a cause greater than yourself. The sword within you. Each of us has a sword in the stone, in our own life, perhaps a dream we think is out of reach, a challenge we fear is too great, or a calling we feel too small to answer. Like Ward, we may doubt ourselves. I am just ordinary. I cannot be the one. But the truth is, greatness often chooses the unlikely. History is filled with people who started small: servants, farmers, dreamers, who rose to lead, invent, and inspire because they carried qualities no one else noticed. The stone does not ask, "Are you noble?" It asks, "Are you ready? Will you try, not for selfish gain, but because you care, because you dare, because you believe?" The call to action. So, when life places a stone before you, do not walk away thinking it belongs to someone greater. Do not say, "I am too weak, too small, too ordinary." Remember Ward, the boy who became a king not by birthright, but by character. Grip the hilt of your challenge. Pull with sincerity. Even if the world doubts you, know this: if your heart is pure, your purpose clear, and your will steady, the sword will come free. And when it does, you will discover what Arthur discovered: that true power lies not in titles, not in wealth, not in strength, but in the courage to step forward, the humility to serve, and the belief that even the smallest person can change the world.